Hey Joyce, thanks for coming to see me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How's your day been so far?
Good. I can't complain. The day's nice. Classes are going by a little bit easier than I expected. Nothing too bad.
I see your sports bag. What are you gonna do after this, Joyce?
I'll go to practice for basketball.
That's cool. That's cool. How's it going so far? How's the season?
Season's going pretty good. We've won most games.
That's
Still
cool.
struggling with some schools. So hopefully going well.
Nice. When's the next game?
Next week.
Next week?
Yeah,
Is it a home game or an away game?
it's a home game.
That's cool. That's cool. I'll try to catch it. So before we start getting into deeper in these conversations, I want to know if you know about confidentiality.
No, I don't think I've heard of it.
All right. So what confidentiality is we are free to discuss anything you want to talk about, and it's gonna stay between us,
Okay.
unless you tell me someone's gonna hurt you, or someone else, or you're gonna hurt yourself, or someone else, or if someone's left vulnerable, like a baby or an elderly person.
Okay.
So, do you understand confidentiality now?
Yeah, I think I understand. Everything we say is just, between us unless, someone's threatened.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So, why'd you come see me? What's up? What's up on your mind?
I just think I'm having, trouble with school and time management and then anxiety.
So, school, time management, and anxiety. All right, those are three good starts. Let's start with school. How are you feeling about school?
I think that that kind of goes with time management because I just feel like there's just so much to to do and to manage. I think school actually, now that I think that more, it goes more with both of them. I think because school causes my anxiety. And, it's a big part of my time.
Yeah.
management.
So it's all three that's getting you with. So.
Yeah. So they all kind of rely on each other, I guess.
All right. So how about time management? Let's start with that one then.
Time management. I just think there's too much to do and not enough time in the day to get everything done. It's kind of hard to organize everything.
So okay. So you're having trouble organizing. So let's start with how your day goes then after school. What do you do after school?
Well, for about 3 hours, I go to basketball practice, give or take, and then usually after I go home and then I start my homework, and that usually takes about 1 to 2 hours, maybe 3 to 4, depending on what class it is. And then after,
that's pretty good. You're giving yourself 3 to 4 hours for work. For homework?
I think it's more like 1 or 2. 3 or 4 if it's one of my harder classes, because at that point I know I have to make the extra time. But I'd say on average 1 to 2 hours.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I'm sorry. Continue.
And then I'd say an hour and for eating and getting ready for the next day, and then maybe 2 hours just for myself to relax or do whatever I want.
Well, that's cool. I like that you already have that much structure in your life. It's pretty good that you're dedicating your time to what you feel like you really need. So in that time management, what is it that you want more of?
I just think sometimes like I said, school can be a big issue sometimes. Away games, they take a lot longer, and I might come home from school a lot later because I have to take the bus there and I have to take the bus back. And, sometimes I get home at 6, and then I still have to make time for everything else.
Right.
Sometimes I just don't have enough time for myself, or sometimes homework becomes a lot, and then I don't have time for that. So stuff like that.
Is it? I feel like you are. Thanks for coming to see me. If you're having time management problems, here we are. Thanks for dedicating certain time to see me. And what I'm seeing is, what do you feel like your priorities are during the day? Sorry, after school.
Okay, I think my priorities would be basketball, of course, and then homework, and then after that, I think the rest is like just for like what I feel like on that day. There's different things I want to do, but for the most part, those two like take top priority.
So basketball and school. That's good. What about your anxiety? Let's switch a little bit over for a sec. What are you feeling?
So anxiety comes like when I just don't get the assignments, or I don't get like what we're doing in class, or like I said with time management, sometimes I just don't have enough time. I have like a lot of assignments to get done, so it all kind of makes me anxious about like my grades and
Right.
if I'm doing okay.
All right. So, can you tell me when you felt that this is becoming more of an issue?
I'd say around like maybe when the season started, because like with basketball, we're practicing a lot more. We have to improve a lot more. We work out more. We get a lot more tired. And with that, there's also like away games, and sometimes like I have to leave class early so I can we can catch the bus and get there on time. And I get home from school late, and it's just after that, I'll kind of like
Right.
the time goes by less.
Right. So you feel like since the season's starting, there's another basketball is now another thing you have to juggle and try to juggle without making sure your grades don't fall down. So what have you been doing to, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. So you're feeling stressed as of now because the season's starting. Yeah, it takes quite a toll on somebody, especially because you're a pretty good player and you're one of the all-stars now.
Yeah. I'd say so, but everyone on the team does their own work and pull their own weight. So.
So what would happen if you wouldn't be able to play basketball for a day?
I just think it's like my coach would get kind of mad, and I don't want to let my team down. They all do their hard work too. It's not like I'm the only one going through this. I just think we're a team and we should play together. I want to be part of the basketball team. I don't want to risk like losing a game because I didn't practice.
How are your grades? What are your grades looking like?
Mostly A's and B's. I think the lowest grade I have is probably a B minus.
So honestly, I feel like your grades are doing good. Like keep on top of them. With those B's especially. But right now, I feel, is the coach giving you a lot of pressure to do good? Like, is that why you're feeling that you might have some of this anxiety coming out?
I think the pressure is more on like not on the coach, but like more on like myself. I keep pushing myself. I have to get good grades. I have to be a good player. I have to do all that. So I think comes on my own expectations. And because of that, I have to work my schedule, and at the end of the day, I still have to get all my work done.
That's good. That's great that you see yourself in those high expectations of yourself. But something that I'm seeing now is that you might be burning yourself out a little bit too much on this because your time is not on a daily. I felt like from what I'm hearing is basketball and school is taking a ton of work.
Yeah, it is. But it's not like. I mean, I like doing what I do. School. I have to go to school. Basketball is also there. It's not like I hate playing basketball. I love playing basketball. So it's not like I'm doing something that I hate. It's just a result of all the work I put in.
So if we could figure out your schedule to reduce to get you, like, how much time would you want type of thing? Is it like, what would you do with that extra hour or two if you had it in your time right now?
I'd probably spend it more on like homework or like relaxing by myself, because sometimes like at the end of the day I have to like do all my work. I come home at 6 and like I only have a couple hours to do all my homework, and then after that just get ready for bed and go to sleep. Like I won't have any time for myself, and then sometimes I just want to get all my work done and also have time for myself so I can relax and all that.
All right, so you have like that's what I'm hearing is like you have, you know, after practice you have a lot of homework and you have no time to do it. So let's try to break down again your what do you do after school? So you said 3 hours goes to basketball, and then 2 hours goes to
homework.
and then to get ready.
I'd say about an hour.
Okay, so that's 6. We end at school at 2, so 8 o'clock. And what time do you go to bed?
Around 10 or 11.
10 or 11. Well, which one do you feel like you do more often? Is it 10, or are you really trying to stay up late till like 11?
For the most part, like 11, because sometimes I just like the extra hour to do, relax a little bit more. But yeah, for the most part, like 10. Sometimes I hang out with my friends after school too. Like that takes like a good hour or 2 hours.
Oh, see now, because I feel like this is another thing. See, we didn't have that 2 hours before.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that extra 2 hours that you just talked about?
Well, lately, like I've seen, like it kind of gets in the way of everything. Like like an extra 2 hours. Like if you count it in total, that's like 4 hours technically, like me time.
I like that you're using the math too.
So like
that's pretty good.
But so like 4 hours, like I've been thinking about it, like that's kind of a lot. Cause like even if you consider I only spend like an hour or two on like homework, so I'm like wondering if it would be like normal for me to like instead of having 2 hours, just me time, I should consider like the 2 times with friends, me time too.
Yeah, that's a great way to see it. So then now you could, if you need to, you could separate that time. So today you had me time. Now you could dedicate those 2 hours at home to do more homework if you feel like you need to do more homework, or if you just need that time to relax, recharge your battery, your social battery, and be you again for the next day.
Yeah, that sounds pretty smart. Like some days I could probably have because some days like my homework isn't that bad, so I have like like sometimes I cannot get out in like 1 hour, and like because of that maybe I have like an extra hour of me time, and sometimes it might take a lot longer, and so I might spend 3 hours, and so I could always like just take away from that hour of me time and put it towards there. It's just sort of there for whatever reason. But yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I never really thought of it like that.
That's cool. So would that be one way that can help reduce your anxiety? Do you see? Do you see it reducing your anxiety if you could control your time management?
Yeah, definitely. Like seeing it like that, I could see that like more clearly my schedule and like all the things that I've done and all the things I have time for. Just seeing it clearly like that makes it feel a lot more comfortable knowing like if I get home instead of like wondering, do I have time for this? Will I have time for that? I come home, I can like settle down knowing like this is the amount of time I have left, and like I can dedicate it to like different things.
That's really good. See, I like again that you're now you're resetting your priorities again, because before you kind of had it there. Before you didn't say that your friends were there, but that is one of your reasons why you feel like now you found 2 more extra hours in your time. But again, you're just making sure you have those priorities to check. That would definitely help you, feel more with yourself and not so stressed out. How about you and your homework? Do you feel, is it too hard on some, like what classes is it that you're having trouble with your homework?
I'd say like the biggest problem would probably be with like math. That would be like my biggest problem, because sometimes math can take like an hour or 2 hours just by itself.
And are you having trouble with it because you're not understanding the material, or is it?
Yeah, like the material, sometimes it's really harder to understand because all the formulas and all the different like solutions and stuff, like there's just like no way to like know the answer directly. You always have to like solve it. You have to make sure you make no mistakes when you solve it, or else that might change the whole answer.
Have you ever thought about staying back after class, or have you let your teacher know that you're having difficulties? Is it just this chapter, or is it has been so far this whole year?
Yeah, yes, just mostly like a couple chapters. Like, sometimes math won't be that hard, and even if it does, the math teacher does a good job of explaining, the work. But I mean, they're always good to, like, if I ever need the extra help, I can always just walk up to them, and they always like spell it out more clearly. So I guess it just requires a little bit more effort on my part, to make it easier on myself.
So, how are some ways that you feel like you can make it easier on yourself?
Definitely going to the professor to make sure everything's going right, and definitely just studying the material would also be a big help. Because usually I just think doing homework is enough to, like, learn it, but sometimes you have to, like, understand it in order to, like, get it. Like, it's not enough to, like, just know how it's done. You have to, like, know the rules, and usually, stuff like that also helps, when I'm, like, taking the test, like, doing my own research on it, like making sure to look up videos and that also explain it. So, maybe I could do that.
Yeah, if you need those extra resources too, don't forget you can always talk to your teacher. And also, I'm here. I don't want to keep you waiting anymore.
Oh, okay.
I feel like, we're cutting into the time, but we can talk about this again next week if you like.
Gotcha.
When I have time.
Thank you.
So yeah, keep at it this time, Joyce. Good luck with the team.
Okay, thank you so much.
For me.
Thank you.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye.